All right, and we are live. Welcome to the BrainDrive weekly development call update live stream. I'm Dave Waring, and I handle the operations side here at BrainDrive.
And I'm Dave Jones, and I handle the technical side of
All
the
right,
operations
and
here.
we are live.
There we go.
Welcome to the one day I won't get this right with the sound, but not today. So if you're new here to the call, welcome. BrainDrive is an open source user-owned AI system, and this is our weekly development call. Uh, this is where we go through everything that we shipped in the last week and what we're planning on building next. And everyone from the community is welcome to get involved and to participate with their ideas and what they think we should be focused on, etc. in this call. BrainDrive is built so that you always own and control your AI system, no lock-in, not to a platform, not to a model, and not to a particular technology choice. You're not even locked into the system itself. And we do this by putting everything that makes your AI system personal to you at the center of the architecture that BrainDrive is built on. We call that the personal AI architecture. Your documents, your preferences, your history, your skills, your workflows. We call all this your memory. And your memory is what makes your AI system yours and what you'd want to take with you to any AI system that you'd use. So the architecture that we're built on, the personal AI architecture, guarantees exactly that. Every component depends on your memory, and your memory depends on nothing else. Models, interfaces, tools, they all plug in and swap. Your memory doesn't care and nothing resets. This also means your brain drive improves as fast as the open source ecosystem does. New features and functionality arrive via tools, not an expanded code base. You can use any publicly available tool in your brain drive, or soon will be able to, or build your own. And we don't have to build, this means, we don't have to build a new open source ecosystem on top of BrainDrive. BrainDrive can absorb the all the great work that's been done over the decades from the existing open source ecosystem. So, like I said at the beginning, the architecture behind all of this is called the personal AI architecture. Both BrainDrive and the personal AI architecture are both open source, MIT licensed, and that's what we're actively working on right now. BrainDrive is our implementation of this architecture. And that same architecture can be used to build your own system, or you can work on BrainDrive with us, whatever you want to do. The architecture is language agnostic. It has four components, two APIs, clean boundaries. You build it in TypeScript, Go, Rust, Python, whatever you want. So whether you're here to contribute to BrainDrive or to use it as a reference for building your own personal AI system, this call is for you. And this is an exciting call because I think we're pretty much ready to move forward with launching BrainDrive to run locally on your own
Yep.
computer. So it's an exciting day. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dave to update us on that.
Yeah. So as Dave said, pretty excited because I don't want to say working like 2 years on this, but the seed is well over a year old on that is because this all started with some type of second brain, a digital entity for you to leverage your own ideas and help you. I call it AI assisted self-improvement. My wife doesn't like that one. I like it, but hey, that's her issue right there. Because like she said, like to say, she doesn't need any self-improvement. But that's all of us. So getting into what we've done, let's share the screen a little bit. That would be that one right there. And we have our lovely little interface. One of the things about this, which, hey, Dave has been reeling me back on, is we want this to be simple. And that right there is a divergent from most applications, especially in the AI sphere, is most applications you see come up and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? And this should be so simple that it's like anybody, as long as you're willing to just type and as Dave likes to say, talk to it. That's all you really need to do. And the further we get down our road, the further that it's going to engage with you, and then not too long in the distant future, act on your behalf. We've spent this week, Dave on his side has been going through, I'll call it the engagement, so that you can go through the interview, the plan, and then the execution phase. And he's been going back and forth, um, probably day and night, knowing him, on that one. And for Nav and myself, we've been making sure that if he finds an issue, we get it cleaned up, especially going along in the settings so people can get set up. And again, it's supposed to be less complicated. You just need a provider. You can select either BrainDrive. I have this from testing, so I'm on OpenRouter right now. If you're on local, of course, the Olama will be local. You can select the model, and based on what you select here, you can actually then select your model and get moving along. You have your owner's profile. You are free to edit this as you wish. I have nothing because I've been mostly coding and trashing and coding again. But then you can edit here, and as you have conversations, this will start to populate as well. So if you notice any nuances or something you want to make sure that's clarified, this is the place where you can actually make that happen. And then, of course, the migrating. You have a library, you want to keep it. You may need to be mobile at some point. You may change computers. And everybody knows what a hassle that is. So this is the ability to, no matter whether you're on managed hosting or local, you can easily back up your entire memory and settings, how you have everything set up on a click of a button. It'll download it. And then that same file you can turn around and let's say if you were on localhost and you're like, I really want to use this anywhere. You sign up for managed hosting, but you have work, you've done interviews, you have plans, you've been engaged on something because you've been using it. You don't want to lose that and you don't want to start all over. So you just simply import your library in and it's as if you didn't even miss a step. And that's probably the most successful thing there. And Dave's, of course, looking because this is the first time he's seen this part. Because he'll have changes visually like that. But I'll go ahead and one thing. This button will go gold once you select a file. But you have to select a file to go in right now. So it's disabled.
Yep.
So you can't really do anything. But other than that, things have been going smooth. Nav submit has been doing so. If we came over here, let's go to provider. We select that one. We can come select if we need tokens. We can so we can go through that. And then we can change our model as you wish, or actually it's changed for you. And then you can use the system from there as well.
So
So
this works now. The changes, have we tested this on our side? I know Nav said it works, but have you tested it?
I haven't fully tested in there because I didn't have his credit card information to put in
Yeah.
there and such to go run through
We need
that
the
one.
sandbox credit card
Yep.
information. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, this should be working now
Yep.
because we went over it. And so now if you go back to model providers, so now you're going to have three choices
Yep.
for our Katie Carter persona, which is our non-technical persona. We wanted to make it just as easy as possible. So she can run Sonnet 4.6, which is the BrainDrive model we're currently defaulting
Yep.
to. And as we work to integrate other models and get better and better and more cost efficient, et cetera, we may update that. But if you're technical, which you probably are if you're on this call, you've probably got an open router key. You can
Yep.
use it here and you know what Olama is. And if you hate Olama, which I know a lot of people do, the good news is this interface is 100% MIT licensed and open source, and we would love to add more providers to it, and we would love your help doing that.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. We're not in bed with a llama where they're not like sponsoring like that. They're just the one that you see most people chiming about. However, you don't have to be stuck there. As Dave said, it's all open source. Any vibe coding can do this in seconds. And if you don't want to vibe code it, you just copy it and make the changes necessary. You'd be done in less than an hour, probably.
Great. So, but we wanted to, for our V1 here, give people the ability to use both cloud and
Yep.
local models, which you can now do. And BrainDrive from my testing, Dave, if you just want to close out of this
Yep.
for a second, the settings.
Oh, the setting. Oh,
Yeah, keep sharing if you don't
yep.
mind.
No problem.
Um, if you go into a project like career,
Yep.
so you're going to go through this process, the interview spec and build plan.
Yep.
So if you're, ever worked with a project manager as a project manager, you probably know that this is the process that a lot of people go through to develop software. But we find when working with AI that this process works really well for really anything that you
Yep.
want to accomplish, whether that be something personal, like improving your relationship with your family, or something professional like taking on a new ambitious project, running a marathon, improving your health, whatever you want to do, this having the AI interview you to really make sure that both you and the AI are on the same page about what you want to accomplish and what success looks like. That's your
Yep.
spec. And then your plan is built off of that. And this page makes it very easy to go back and forth with the AI. And also, if you click on that plan there, Dave,
There we go.
you can edit this.
Yep.
So once you go through that interview process and the spec process, you can edit this. You can tell the AI to edit this. And this forms the foundation of what Dave was talking about, which is your memory. And this is the foundation of what allows you to personalize AI to work really well with you. So this isn't everything we're ever going to have in BrainDrive, but we want to make sure that we really get this foundation right, both for BrainDrive, the system that people are going to be using as
Mhm.
their personal AI system, and also for the individual. This is the foundation that everything else can be built off of. So we've run through this. There's still more work to do,
Yep.
but it's working pretty well with Sonnet 4.6. We want to test it with other models. In particular, we'd love to have a good local model for
Yep.
this. Is that still on the agenda? Did you have a
Uh,
chance to look at that,
I've had
Dave?
a chance to play with some of it. I want to play with more. I got very good output on the what OpenAI's OSS 20 version. That didn't flake on me. It wasn't the best response. Claude was still Anthropic still seemed to have better. Of course, it's a much newer model by about 6 to 8 months, and an AI that's an eternity. Um, Quinn 3.5. If it could just stop giving the every once in a while Chinese character, that would be it would be really good. So if like that's just a little, I think. Well, I wonder if a little prompt cleanup might help with that with the Quinn models and stuff like that. Or
Yeah, if
like,
you want to just stop sharing so we can
okay,
see you talking. Yeah, I mean, you know, for this version, and especially people that are local enthusiasts,
yep.
if it's good and it just has a Chinese character there every once in a
Oh yeah,
while,
yep, yep. And I didn't make it to like I said, I wanted to try the Gemma Force, brand new, state of the art, or supposedly according to their own benchmarks,
yeah,
state of
right.
the art. I should always put that. It's like, but verbally, they've gotten a lot of good reviews from people using it. So, but the only way you know is to use it. And then of course, run tests from using high density models versus mixture of expert type models and see what the response is, because then I think those models could really shine here because we are not fine-tuned into one domain. We have multiple domains, and
Right.
that's where that expertise could shine. It's like one thing you're doing, this will be good over here, but then a few layers over, and I know it's very technical. Um, but it's like this could be, and then it will allow cheaper hardware to run with those as well.
Okay. So, um, there's two things that are kind of left to be done then from my perspective, which I think we could probably knock out today, which is having a local model that gets you close, if not
Yep,
all the way there.
yep,
And then I need to go back into all of the prompts because cross-pollination between projects. So if you do a project, it is creating that owner profile, but then it's not pulling from it in the next prop. It'll
yep,
ask you like, do you have a family? If you've already discussed
yep.
that, it shouldn't ask you that again in the next project that you're building out your defining and reaching your goals process with.
Mhm.
But once we have those two things, I think that's the V1. We move from sort of MVP into
Mhm.
like this is a product you can actually use.
Yep. I would imagine, especially dealing with the profile, what you probably have happening is it has loaded all the data up that it thinks it needs. And so in that interview spec, it's not reloading. So it just learned you have a family, the question before. So it wrote it, but it never updated itself to go into the next prompt going, here's the user profile. So it probably thinks your user profile is still blank at that point.
Okay.
Just a
So
thought process. That was all.
yeah. So we maybe we can look at that together
Yep.
then. But that's that from my side. Before we get into, is there anything else you want to update on work from last
Nope.
week?
Nope.
Because
That
I
was
have a
work.
couple
Yep.
of things. Okay. And then from Nav side though, we the Sonnet 4.6 model for local, and then We want to have it. Everybody's going to be able to run BrainDrive locally on their computer. It's free. It's
Yep.
MIT licensed, it's open source. We also want to have an easy button for our non-technical users, which will be our managed hosting service, and will offer some priority support and the type
Hmm.
of thing that open source projects do to support the project. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to call that BrainDrive Concierge. There's a lot of work that's been done on that. We're doing the local launch this week, and we'll do the hopefully the managed hosting concierge launch next week.
Yep.
But for the developers on the call, you're probably going to run this locally anyway. But so there's been a lot of work that's been done on that from his side, and then um, I finished up the website. So we have define and reach your goals with
Yep.
AI. How it works, our interview plan execute. Every brain drive owner gets an AI system you own, a proven process for success, and a community of other owners. Here's your self-hosted and a wait list for the brain drive concierge for people that want managed hosting. We have our terms of service, privacy policy, and trademark policy here now. We have our about page going over our four pillars, a little bit about our vision, and two of the most handsome people that you've ever seen on a website. So I think what I was excited about when putting together this website is I feel like we really are able to get the message across of
Yep.
what this is very succinctly and in a format that anybody can understand now, which is something that we've struggled with up to this point, or I have anyway. Um, and you know, also we're ready to go. This is takes you to the GitHub and you're ready to go. So I felt pretty excited about that. And then I'm working on a 5 lesson course on how to partner with AI to define and reach your goals. I'm actually done with the drafts of everything, and I'll just show I'm not going to show the whole course, but I would like to show the intro so you can get an idea of what's going to be there. Let me find that. Should have had that up before the call. Let's see. And this course is going to be our lead capture as
Yep.
well for how we promote everything. We want people to come in. If you're familiar, if you're a developer, you don't need this course. But for our Katie Carter non-technical user, they're going to need to learn a little bit before they see the value in this. But I think the good news is people are hungry
Hmm.
for how do I get started with
Yep.
this, right? I want AI. I want to get to know it, and how do I get started? So that's
Yep.
what this course is going to be all about. And this is the intro. So we're going to give you that proven process. We're going to tell you everything you need to know to partner with AI in less than 30 minutes, which I really do feel like we're delivering on that, which is what everybody wants.
Yeah.
No one wants to sit through a full day, of lessons here. So we're going to go over the AI basics that everybody needs to know and none of the stuff they don't. And this is just a little bit about what the AI model is and comparing it to like it powers AI systems like electricity powers a lamp,
Yep.
an analogy that I think everybody can understand. And then uh, why memory is the most important component of an AI system and why it's important that you own that memory. And then how anyone can own their AI system. We show you how to do this with BrainDrive, but the same information is applicable to any personal AI system. So you still benefit from this course, even if you don't use BrainDrive. And then we go through in depth that proven process that we just talked about, the interview spec and build plan, and show you exactly how it works. And then we walk through that process live in BrainDrive and then talk a little bit about the future. So I was also very pleased that, I feel like I have explained this to my 78-year-old mother and she gets it now, where before, I would talk about digital brains and all this
It's a
stuff. And
dream within a dream.
yeah, yeah. I feel like we're really starting to dial in this message. And, if we really do want to deliver on our mission of building a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems and our vision of bringing AI power to the people, it's got to be easy enough for the average
Yep.
person to understand. It's not enough for only developers to be able to do this. Another line that I actually came up with, not the AI, which I was excited about, is, BrainDrive makes owning a personal AI system as easy as owning a personal computer. And I also talk a little bit about in the course that, in the early days of personal computers, it was sort of like the geeks and the computer clubs and that type of stuff. Yeah, right. That were building computers,
Yep.
and the same thing's happening right now with personal AI systems. And I think the same thing that happened with personal computers is also starting to happen now, is the geeks like Dave here are making it easy for the rest of us, to do this. That's what BrainDrive's doing,
Yep.
right? So I think that's a very also powerful analogy that can get people to see. And I think, while Second Brain is definitely it brand aligned with BrainDrive, I actually think personal AI system may be the better verbiage there, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say, and one thing that can't be lost is we're no longer spending 30 minutes talking about or trying to educate what a plugin architecture is. I
Yeah,
mean, it's great if you're a technical person, but at the end of the day, we're not trying to create technical people.
right.
We want to meet you where you're at, and we want this to be so easy that you're like, oh my God, I'm not a technical person, but I got this.
Right. And I think we have the best of both worlds where if you are a technical person, then you can dig into the architecture
Yep.
and it's completely customizable to however you want it. So I really have been very excited about that and where we are right now. So those are the main things that I worked on from last week. Let me just bring up our agenda here and um, make sure there's nothing. For me this week, getting this course live, because that also seeds the community. We're sort of doing a reboot on the BrainDrive community at BrainDrive, community.braindrive.ai. And this will be like the main focus of the community initially, as well as getting back to posting there our updates here and the work that we're doing from a developer standpoint. So we'll have two sides to that forum, the user side for Katie for her user-owned AI system, and then the builder side for what we call our Adam Carter persona. That's our developer persona, where we're going to be live building all of this, hopefully with you, but at a minimum in public.
Yeah.
um, so I really want to get that course live. And then once I have that course live, that's also my marketing material that I
Yep.
can go out and start promoting this with. And it's also my testing because I need to be able to show this live and in a video and all of that. And it needs to all work and everything. So that's, I think, going to be my main focus for the week. Now, before we just stop sharing here for a second, um, and look real quick. Okay, there we go. All right. I know we have Dave, you want to do the actual like talk about the Docker stuff, right? And
Yeah, we can. Yep.
okay, so let's make sure we talk about
Yep.
that. And then I think we can look at the roadmap a little bit
Yep.
and have a little bit of a high level discussion of kind of where we're at and what we need to work on next, and then maybe rough out some priorities that we can
Yep.
uh, polish up after the call. Does that sound good for you?
Yep. Nope, that's perfect.
All right, so you want to talk about the Docker stuff first?
Okay. One of the key things of any software project is being able to, without losing any data, help users migrate up to future versions. Because one of the things with any project, but especially AI, it's going to change. We can count on it. There's going to be bugs. We know somebody's going to say, hey, this doesn't work. We're going to fix it. But also on the other side, we're going to want to add features as we're moving along because we do have a roadmap of not being stuck where we're currently at. So I did develop this little process where almost is script ready, where Dave could run it and say, "Hey, we have an update. There you go." But it's like so after these calls on future Mondays, because at this point we know everything generally works in our release. So this would be the perfect time of after this call. I would run through this, and then from that point forward, everybody who turns on their brain drive or starts their brain drive up will automatically, if you're on the production or I call it the quick start version, it'll automatically sync and be updated. You won't lose your data. And then for the dev people, of course, you would have to restart it as well, clone down locally. But you're used to that kind of stuff. So if you have code in your main, we're not trying to force that, so you don't lose any of your changes that you've made, and you can handle your stuff appropriately. Very quickly though, let's go ahead and share. There's my screen. Let's go. Let's go screen 2. Can you see that fine?
It's yes.
Okay.
It's split screen. I got GitHub on what's one side and
Yep.
BrainDrive on the
Yeah, well,
other.
that's why I have a widescreen monitor down there, so it's like really wide. But yeah, this is so I can just track everything that I'm going along and just how I normally. So when you ask me questions, especially during the calls, I have everything I need really quick,
Perfect.
but just in case. But yeah, it is as simple as when I log in, this screen that I'm on right here, I'll just type hello. It'll be wrong, I know. Just so everybody can see I'm on that screen. This is a SSH into the server where basically I'm coding at. But this is the first, this will put me in the right directory. This makes sure that the version that I have down local is the most recent version. And generally I would skip this only because I don't want to get anybody's bad changes, but I know I've been doing this all morning. And so anybody's changes are generally mine at this point. And then it makes sure that I'm actually logged into Docker and everything like that. There we go. Because for this to go through, I do have to be logged into Docker and have certain things set up. The next easy part, and yeah, I'm just going to cut and paste all this and explain as I go along because it's just easier and it's the way I do it. This handles certain pieces of knowledge that have to be passed along or made sure in place. And this is what takes care of this portion for me. The only part I really have to change on this entire script is what version I'm creating in the moment. And this is important. So, because hey, version numbers, people know what they're looking for. And it kind of keeps us tagging along very smoothly. So, and as you notice, we don't have any errors yet because we're running rather smooth. Then there's a little back end work here. This again deals with the versions. It stamps everything. There are some behind the scenes and some files where version has to be tracked so that the local version will track on the same version as the managed hosting version. And this takes care of that. This is basically a headache reducing moment for me. And for Dave, because Dave will be like, hey, this isn't working right. And he'll be like, what version? And then somebody will have a different version for a local. And well, that would be because this piece wasn't there. I wanted to eliminate that for me. I'm not sure why that popped up, but who knows? Doesn't matter. And then let's see. So if I want to check really quick, this will tell me everything I want to know. And now I know that my local version and my managed hosting version are both on the same version number. And then we come to the real work. Oh, there we go. Ooh, it did not like something. What didn't it like? Well, this is interesting. So we might have to run through this and not go because normally I don't go through my SSH server like that. But for some reason, that's not working correctly.
So for
Oh,
just from my understanding, Dave, this is a little bit more of just like a behind the scenes look and
yeah, yeah,
not something that like this is what you do to get the new version live in
yep,
Docker and not for other developers, right?
correct. Yeah, correct. This was just for me. And I can see where the issue was right here, and no clue why it's not working because yep, everything should be there. Oh, I see already the reason why. I have to figure out why it's missing that. But anyways, that'll be for me to figure out later.
Okay. And in
um,
future calls, if you want to stop sharing for a
yep.
minute, basically, should we like update the Docker image before this call and then go through what's changed in this call so people can bring it down and look at it, or what's your thought on that?
Honestly, probably beforehand. That way, it's like, because if we have somebody on the call, they're watching it and they're like, oh, that change is in there. I want to start using it. This handles that
Right.
versus the afternoon going, when are they going to update? Because you never know what happens and stuff
And
like
this is
that.
where like change logs and stuff like that come into play, right?
Yep.
Where we
Yep.
want to have a list of everything from the last week. And that way in this call, instead of you and I 5 minutes before like figuring out what we want to talk about,
That would already be covered in the change log.
we bring up the change log and you just go through and you show us everything that you've changed,
Yep.
right? Okay, great. And that would be all pull requests that we've approved from
Yep.
the community, anything, all that.
Yep.
So that's great. And
So
then people can pull it down real quick and like go through it on the call with us if they want to and be like, hey, this isn't working for me, or I love this, or
yeah, the
that type
change
of
log will
thing.
be in the root of the repo anyways. Let's say if you didn't have it locally, you were just on your phone like that. You just have somebody go there and you could be on your phone with watching this and go, okay, let me follow along. It'd be
Right.
that simple. We're not going to
Okay.
hide it in some special place or something like that.
Perfect. All right, great. So we'll figure out getting that
Yeah.
Docker image updated after the call. No worries. Live calls. That's
Yeah.
what happens sometimes. We're live. All right. And then I also put a roadmap
Yep.
in the root of the repo so people can see the 5 phases that we plan to go through to bring the power of AI to the people and deliver on our mission of building a superior alternative, user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. So the own part is done, and that was our MVP, which is basically being able to run all components that you need from an AI system on your computer. And now we're in phase two, which is the benefit. And this is where we really want to have, for leveraging AI to define and reach your goals, a superior alternative here. Like we're not going to be better at everything
Yep.
than big tech AI systems after this phase, but we should be better at the most important thing for a personal AI system
Yep.
and the foundation, which is defining and reaching your goals and having that library where all your memory is built and compounding for you. So this is where we're at. And we now have the Docker install.
Yep.
Managed hosting, we're in testing. The web interface is done. Cloud models are done. Projects are done where you
Yep.
click in and you can edit your spec and build plans, and the AI creates those for you in the sidebar, like we showed. That's also the core methodology. The capture, this says done. You can capture it right now, but the cross-pollination that we
Yep.
talked about, which is down here on the owner profile, we got to make sure that that's working. So we'll give that a check minus there. And then editing your library, you can do that. You can edit any file by talking to your AI or edit it directly because those files live on your computer. Chatting with your documents done, and security auth, all of that, and the exports Dave just showed you. So
Yep.
we've made a lot of progress already in phase two. The owner profile we talked about, local models we talked about. These are the two big things, for this week that we need to finish up. Version history. I wasn't sure about this, Dave, in terms of how version history works currently, or if you know.
Well, we're currently, because we do our images and
No,
everything's
no,
like that.
not that version.
Oh,
Version history within a BrainDrive, like documents, a
oh, oh.
library.
Well, we use Git for handling the diffs and like that, and it has its own type of version history. The where it'll change is when we get into doing backups, and if you use Git, that
Okay.
will be that, because Git will handle your version history. So let's say there's a change that was made yesterday, we would be able to introduce the commands necessary to so that your AI knows it. You can basically use GitHub like you do now, where you
Okay,
tell it,
so but basically right now I haven't tried this, I should,
yeah,
but let's say I say, "Ooh, we just erased part of my plan. Can you put it back to how it was?" If I do that with natural language, is that working
it
now? But
should be
it
able to
should, but
work, but we haven't
Git is
tested.
there, but we haven't battle
Yeah,
tested
Git's
it. Okay.
there. The AI knows about Git and all this stuff, so it's in theory the pieces could come, but we haven't tested. Yes.
Okay. So, and this is the next phase,
Yep.
of really everything from my perspective is, okay, now we've gone through the interview spec and build plan, and now we're executing, and we want to come back and we want to give updates and
Yep.
have everything updated and cross-pollinated and all of that. And also, I think one of the biggest ways that I use AI currently is taking the transcripts from calls like this, or I tell people, hey, do you mind if I record this?
Yep.
And I put the transcript in, and I want it to be able to process that and populate all the different spec and build plans, etc. So that's kind of like the big remaining steps, I would say, before V1, we can call it done.
Yep.
Okay. That doesn't mean we need to wait to launch anything, but like it's beta until all those things are
Yep.
working from my perspective. Does that sound right to you,
Yep.
Dave?
No, that's where my head was at actually as well.
And it doesn't feel like, unless we run into something majorly unforeseen, that these seem more like optimizations to me than completely new functionality.
True, true. Because like the transcript processing, that's more of just making sure an agent file A knows where to find them, and then B, the prompting to go, hey, take care of that, and then you get to
Right.
the cross-pollinization that starts off in that moment.
Good. Great. All right. And then I'm calling this V1.1 plus. And this is where you're kind of taking all this to the next level.
Yep,
So and also this is where proactivity, that heartbeat comes into play, where your AI system is checking in with you. When you open it up, it's ready to go. Just like if you were meeting with your expert coach or whatever, they wouldn't just sit there. They would say, hey, last time you were here, we talked about this. Do
yep,
you want to pick back up on that? Do you want to do something else? Sending you an email or a text saying, hey, we talked about doing this. Just wanted to check in, see if you're able to do it so I can update your stuff
yep,
like a good assistant would do, right?
yep,
So this is that proactivity. And then I think this is also where multi-channel comes in, where I can interact with my BrainDrive from other interfaces. So this is where I can speak to my BrainDrive from WhatsApp and Slack and
yep,
Discord and all of that. And then also where task management comes into play, keeping track of your to-do list across projects and managing that, helping you manage your to-do list because everything will be in there. Some of the context gardening stuff we've talked about. This is basically anything that you can do where the AI can take action, but it's action within your brain drive and
yep,
not outside it. That's
yep,
what I think finishing out phase 2 is all about. Does that sound right to you,
yep.
Dave?
Nope, it sounds perfect. And
Okay.
this is where it comes alive too. This is
Yeah.
that you call it a heartbeat, but it is. This is where it's like you're gonna have Tony Robbins in your back pocket now because he's gonna be checking on you.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of this stuff, like the owner profile, the local models, this really needs to be you. I mean, I can check and
Yep,
see if it works, but if it doesn't, you're going to need to fix it.
yep,
But and then remote backup. Those are the technical things. The
yep.
other, like this stuff I can do, I feel like, right? Like, because it's
Oh yeah,
just
yep.
prompting, etc. Um,
Your version history, you like I said, or like you said, if it doesn't work, it's mine. If it does work, it's you just checking on
right. So,
it.
right. Okay. So, I'll take owner
Yep.
profile. I think we'll both play with local models.
The local model, I honestly foresee is we're going to need a script that runs in Playwright and that can test a model for the interview process rather than us take 15 to 20 minutes to do
I
it
have
right.
that process, so why don't I'll take
Oh,
this on.
yeah, because if that becomes a script, then we can look at any model and go, oh, that looks pretty good based on what we're hearing. Test it.
Right.
And then we use, of course, the state of the art, the 4.6 on it to verify were these results good.
Yeah, I have
And
that. I
yep,
have that running now, so I'll run it through that.
yep,
Okay. And so basically from this list, I think remote like backup. Like if I want to have GitHub hooked
yep.
up, can I do that now
Now,
or
no, but that's not a heavy lift. We could have that easily within a day, because it'll be storing it in your app config of this is my GitHub. You probably if because you won't have it public, we'll have to deal with a token. But once you deal with the token, that should be as simple as, hey, back up, boop, or every time you make a change, or every day, or whatever we want to set. That we'll have another conversation of how frequently do we want this backup to take place.
How frequently do you? I mean, I update mine like all the time.
I'd be me personally. I'd be like, hey, every time a change happens, hit it. That way, I don't lose nothing. And it's only
Right.
GitHub. Ask any developer. They've pounded GitHub enough to know it'll
Yeah.
take it.
So I think unless it slows down the system or adds like substantial token costs to the equation,
That well, because my figure, what should happen is you do something. You've already engaged the AI. The AI would simply at the end of that process go back up, and that's not really a telling it to do anything. That's just a flag as it changes data. Something got dirty, meaning it's not saved. And at the very end, as it's responding to you, telling you what happened, it already fires off a process that does involve the AI. It's just saying, hey, push this up to GitHub.
okay. So I'll take local models and
Yep,
you take
I'll have
uh,
backing up.
backup. And then the other thing I had on the list to talk about with you was where are we at with our agentic development in terms of, I think our ideal state, not that we're there
Yep,
yet or need to be there right this minute, is the whole agentic development process that we use as BrainDrive to build BrainDrive is available if you point your AI to GitHub, to our
yep,
BrainDrive GitHub,
yep.
you're up and running.
Ooh. Um, I can safely say I do not know.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
there's a lot of unknown questions there of okay, how far is somebody really going to push this and all like that and whatnot. And we've been mostly focused on getting this here. So this is where we're gonna have to put the pieces together and then iron out, hey, here's some test cases. Let's make sure it can do what barely what we want, and then we can grow it.
Okay.
But what we
Is
should be
that something that's worth focusing on right now, or do
right
you
now,
think that's
no, because
more of
we
a
when we
backlog?
got to get to that heartbeat first. When we get to the heartbeat and this is now engaging, then I think we take on the lift because we have an entire user block that probably will never use it that would use heartbeat in a second.
Okay. So, and we have what we need right now, and we're feeling good about our agentic development process,
Yep.
or do we feel like we need to spend some time on that this week?
This is the way, this is when things are going to slow down enough for me to start pushing a little time into that so I can get the compounding. I've been keeping my logs so that I can work from them,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of, okay, let's improve this now.
I think this is a good like when like so we just finished or we're basically finished with a sprint,
Yep.
and the V.1 things will be our next sprint that's
y-
there. And I think when we finish these sprints, taking that beat to like, okay, now let's compound.
Yep.
Let's make sure we're organizing all of our information again. Like I just went back through all the spec and build plans and everything that we've been working on, make sure they're up to date,
Yep.
make sure this roadmap is there and up to date. So I think that's definitely along with our backups,
Yep.
the agentic process and making sure we're organized on that. And then it sounds like from the way you're talking that heartbeat is probably the next thing over more interfaces.
Yeah, because most of our users are going to exist within that interface. Let's be blunt,
Yeah,
right there. So if we get that where that's engaging them, then we can start the conversation with them about, hey, if you had agentic behavior and the ability to do more, you're starting to see where that could come alive. If
right,
we hand that to them now, they'll be like, huh, what do I do with this?
right,
Because we don't have that back and forth yet. So
right,
I think we get the back and forth and then we go, okay, now let's see what you really can do.
right. Okay, so I think specking that out together might be a good for tomorrow's call,
Yep.
because that's going to be too long for the 60 minutes we have left here if we haven't already run along long. But that sounds like a good
Yep.
boat of work.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Um,
that's gonna be when we get to that part. That's gonna be let's figure out what this thing looks like alive, and then when it's alive, and then running, because that's when it's going to take off for you.
okay. So we'll put that on the list. So th those would be the three big next priorities. And the other thing is, if as part of this agentic cleanup, if we
Mhm.
could take a look at the GitHub and just make sure like everything that we have for developers is there, like there, and that it's like organized. Like there's a docs section right now that doesn't see, it seems to have like some screenshots in it or something. I don't know if those are mine or yours, but
Uh,
there's really nothing in the docs.
that's yours. That's why I didn't mess with it. And
Okay.
that's what caught my Monday run book was I cleaned it up all my stuff, but my Monday playbook was relying on some of the old stuff that I had in there. That's what caught me.
Let me just take a quick look.
Yeah, but you'd use screens for
The,
image.
the
Yeah.
screenshot is what's in the README. So we do need that.
Yep.
The onboarding, let me just share. The onboarding, I don't think this is me. This is you. So you can decide whether or
Okay.
not
Yep. Okay.
we
I'll
need
go through
that
them.
or
Yep.
not.
Yep. Oh yeah, that
Um,
could be from my docs that I was keeping up to date.
Same. This isn't me.
Okay. It's all mine.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but
that is me. Yep.
the image needs to be there,
Yep.
and I do think we should have some docs for developers. Yes,
Yeah.
or
Oh
do you
yeah.
think
And in fact, right now, like most of my docs are with the code. So like where, let's say we have the installer. And depending on which one you go into, if you go into Docker, there should be nope, no, because there's nothing really.
Okay, so
You
just
have
we don't
my
need to do
Monday,
this right now,
yeah,
but just go as
yeah,
part of your cleanup, if you can just because I bet you're gonna as you go through and clean up for yourself, you're gonna be like, oh, this would be like really nice for a developer to
yeah.
have, and we can talk about how to organize that and all of that. So that was the other thing. Let me just see if there's anything else on my list here that's worth discussing live here. As for Nav. Okay, yeah, and for Navaninth, um, assuming he's good on managed hosting this week, I thought maybe we can give him the interface stuff to work on.
True, if he has managed hosting and stuff like that, all wrapped up, and that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see, right?
I don't want
But
to push
that
this
seems
boat too
like
fast.
if he has it,
Yep.
that seems like a good. I
Yeah.
feel like the interface stuff from what you've said is not going to be that heavy of a lift to hook these interfaces up, or is it?
Not really. Not because we were talking about the Vercel stuff, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that should because that look I want to call it painlessly easy, but it really it's like I think that'll be a fun, easy lift. We'll
And
call
if
it.
it's not, then he'll discover that and he can figure out where all
Yep,
the landmines are. So when you jump in, like we're off to the
yep,
races. All right. So that's what I'm planning on giving him next. And I mean, I'm seeing us moving through this roadmap pretty quickly.
yep. As quick as we move through this entire application so far, if you took the same, I'll call it 30-day sprint, we
Yeah.
should be way down the path. It's
Yeah. Where is it? Here it is.
yeah. Yeah, because anybody paying attention at home, this is only like barely over 30 days worth of work, and it's pretty fine-tuned and dialed in at this point.
Yeah. So, these things, because a lot of these things build on each other as
Yep.
well. This does not seem, I mean, I feel like even like in a couple weeks, we could potentially have.
That's what I'm saying. They take the same 30-day window that we just went through, turn it the other way, and we could have 1.1 knocked out.
Yeah. And, potentially be a little bit into phase three as well, which is connecting out.
Yep.
And then in terms of connecting out, once we can connect out to one tool and it's working because of the architecture, we should be able to connect to any tool.
Yep. And if the Vercel's chat SDK that you
Yeah.
handed me over the weekend, I'm wondering if that will allow us to utilize the same code for multiple interfaces versus multiple connections because it handles WhatsApp, Discord, and a bunch of them, and it has a chart on what it knows what can't be done on those interfaces. So based on what you try to do, if it takes care of that can't be done, we won't do it. type thing for us, we could just have the same pipeline running down a connection, and it will automatically handle probably like 5 or 6, maybe even as many as they handle.
And it's open source.
Yep, and it's open source.
And if they
Yes,
don't
it is.
have it, we need to build this anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I remember they're on GitHub. It's open source.
Yep. Apache 2.0, I think
Yep.
it said. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as we give them credit, we don't try to say this is our code. We're fine.
No, we would
Yeah,
much prefer to use other people's stuff that they've spent time and money building than spend time and money building our own stuff.
because we know they're going to add more interfaces.
Yeah, they're killing it,
Yep.
and they're giving a lot of it away, which is
Yep.
awesome. So I think they're one of the leaders. All right, great. So I think that's pretty much everything we need to talk about for this week. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Nope. We'll do a demo next week of the run book, and because I'll have that clean, I'll figure out what I messed up when I cleaned up.
And I should next week I need to add some. I should just bring up BrainDrive and show. We didn't have BrainDrive
Yep.
done when I originally started
Yep.
thinking about tightening up the intro, but next time I'll just bring it up and show it
Yep.
because we
There you
can
go.
do
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. We're to that point now.
Yeah. All right, great. So with that, our mission here at BrainDrive again is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. This is our weekly development call Livestream, which we live stream here on YouTube every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and then post the recordings over on our community forums over at community.braindrive.ai. So we'd love it if you join us here and participate live as well as over in the forums if you missed the live stream. So either or both. And with that,